Hey folks, welcome. Good to have everybody with us. That's Beth there on the left. Natalie Dupuis on the right. Hi Natalie. Natalie joining
Hi,
us tonight.
everyone. Hello, everyone.
Jennifer not well today, so she's not joining us. If you do the prayer thing, fire one or two her way because she's just, not well today. So a prayer or two in her direction would be a good thing. Otherwise, she would be with us. Let's see. So we're going to talk to Natalie tonight. We have got so much stuff. We could probably go 3 hours, but we won't. But all kinds of things to do. But I do want to tell you about Sunday's guest because she is,
She's back.
it's Ruth Miller is our guest, and this is her self-portrait. And whoops, this is life size. Her work is life size, and she, there's a story in there. I'm sure if we knew more about her, we would know the story. But just some amazing embroidery, and it literally is life size. You'll see if you go to her website, there's a video, and she's working on a project, and you can tell that the portrait, the head, is literally life size. But just the lighting, the way she gets the lighting and the texture and everything is fantastic. And she was just a treat to talk to. So that's Sunday's guest, Ruth Miller, and really can't wait for you to hear her. We just had so much fun. So that's the promo for the promo for Sunday. Be sure and check that out. Yeah, that was a good one.
She was great.
Yep. Let's see. Tonight we have giveaway 3 Avlia. Obviously, Krista West, Avlia, supporting Fiber Talk on an ongoing basis. We really appreciate it. If you buy from Krista, let her know that you heard about her through Fiber Talk because it really does help an awful lot. And it's Avlia, Avlia.life or Avlia Mediterranean, AvliaEmbroidery.com. Either one works. But anyway, so we got 3 tonight. And you just do, as it says right down there below, you send email. Oh, that's right. New people, here's how we do the drawings. You send email to Gary@WeTalkFiber.com. It's right down there. In the subject line, you put the word Avlia. Nothing else. Just Avlia. Don't get creative. Just put Avlia in there. Don't say this is for the Avlia drawing. Don't do that stuff because it'll go somewhere else. Someday I'll show you my inbox, and then you'll understand.
Oh, that would be scary. That would be too scary.
Yeah, you don't want. So just
That would give us
Avlia.
nightmares.
Yeah. And then in the body of the email, you put your name and address. Then we do a drawing right after the show because this is just for people who participate in the live show. And then 3 winners tonight, and then those just get sent out to you. So that's how we do the drawing, and then it's over. That's it. Yes, I am an enabler. I'm proud of it. The only thing I don't have is the certification, and I'm not the only enabler either. Right there on my right on the screen, yeah, just as bad as I am. So, you.
Innocent.
Yeah, you are. Okay, so 3 things. We have a chart. The chart is Athenian diamonds. Athenian diamonds. That's a chart. I'll turn it over quick because somebody would copy. No, they wouldn't. Anyway, Athenian diamonds. So that's a chart. Then we have 2 kits. I should be keeping this one. Agape Puli. I think that's right. Agape Puli.
Oh, nice.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I should be keeping this one.
And what's the fabric in the kit? Does it say?
It is the fabric you like.
Oh, nice. It's
Yeah,
the Greek, the stuff she gets from Greece, right? It's kind of
yeah,
round.
her traditional ground cloth, she calls it. Yes, that one. So full kit, needle, thread, ground cloth, chart, whole shoot and match. So that one, and then the third one, Tree of Life.
Ooh.
Tree of Life.
That's such a lovely design.
Yep, and this is a full kit too. This is I can't show you the back because it's in a brown thing, but Tree of Life, her newest embroidery kit. So you'll want to be in the drawing for that. And where did I put? Oh, here it is. I kind of put things to get away from the last show. This is the actual design here.
Oh,
So it's not, it's not very big. It's what did I say? 4 or 5 inches across.
well, it looks like it's nicely printed. I mean,
Oh, it's beautifully
that's
printed.
so for beginners, that's the one thing I hate doing is transferring stuff. And I know I can do it. It's not a big deal, but
Yeah.
it's
5
just
and a
so
quarter.
nice not to have to.
Right, 5 1/4 inches, printed perfectly. You won't have to guess where the lines are at. Beautiful, and that kit, of course, comes with thread and a hoop. That's a hoop design, so it comes with the hoop that you would finish it in if you wanted to do it that way. I'm not sure I'd use the hoop to stitch. I mean, it's a good hoop for display, but I'd use my other Hardwick Manor hoop. But lots of thread, everything. But anyway, the whole shoot and match right here in the kit. You can use the hoop. I shouldn't say, the hoop will work fine, but you'll want to use your own, I think, and then display it in this. So those three, the Tree of Life, Agape, Puli. I really should keep this, shouldn't I?
Very generous, Gary.
I'll give it away. and then
If you don't give it away, your stash gets too big.
That's right. That's right.
And by whose definition is that?
When you get stressed because there's too many kits to stitch.
I got a ways to go.
Okay.
I'm good. So those three, send your emails. Right down there is the stuff. Right there, send it. Make sure you include your address. It's really hard for me to send stuff to people if I don't have the address. And only enter once, please. Only enter once. I'll catch you because I go through the whole list. But just do me a favor and just enter once during the live show, anytime before we sign off. And then I do the drawing right after that. So that's tonight. Thanks to Krista West and Avlia Embroidery. Always appreciate their support. She's very generous, obviously very generous, because we have a lot to give away. I'll get email from her just every couple of weeks. Do you need more? And she'll send me off some stuff. So very kind of her to make sure we have things to give away. Also, if you have things that are, your stash is causing you stress, or you have a basement full, I'd be happy to have them to give away. Just email me, same email, and if you want to, send me a few things to give away, I'd be happy to have them. Also happy to have anybody want to send photos of their work that I can use for the floss tube video for the Wednesday shows. That is very helpful too. Right now I'm starting to repeat some that I have, so be happy to have those. I think that's...
WIPCO numbers, did you want to announce that?
Oh, yes, we said we would keep up with that. What were 5 and 17 are the WIPCO numbers?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Few things to give away, I'd be happy to have them. Uh-oh. Also happy to have anybody want to send photos of their work that I can use for the Who's that coming from?
2 Garys.
Shows. That is very helpful too.
How
am I right now? I'm going to repeat some that I have, so be happy to have those. I think that's... How am I hearing that?
Did you want to? I don't know.
Oh, yes, we said we would keep up with that. What were 5 and 17? There we go. Now it stopped. That
My
was you.
fault. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
It was the live show being picked up from my microphone.
There we go. Okay. All right. So 5 and 17 are the numbers in the podcast today. Beth and I talk about what ours are. So you can listen to that today and learn about that and the ones that got selected for us. Also interested, we've been tossing around the idea at the Galleria event that comes up in fall.
September?
Yeah, sometime.
September.
Wondering if people would be interested in participating in a fiber talk stitch room where we would get a room there and have tables for people to stitch at during the Galleria weekend. So just email me and let me know if you'd be interested. We'd have to have some way to everybody contribute to cover the cost, but we try to keep it nominal. But if you'd be interested in doing that, going to Galleria and then having a room, and it actually worked. The other rooms that I saw there at Galleria the last time really worked out fairly well because it also gave people a place to leave their stuff. And I think if we did that, we would arrange to have someone in there, maybe Marga, I don't know, but someone in there all the time so that you could leave stuff that you didn't want to lose. So we'd have
Or
that.
haul around. Just, if you're shopping, nice not to haul all your
Right.
stuff around.
So let me know one way or another just to get a reading about whether to do that, because it sure looked like fun to have a room where people could go and stitch, set up a little nest, have a beverage, and then go out and do some shopping and come back and just have a dumping ground, but a place to stitch during the weekend. So, and then of course we would probably look into having some extra little things go on in the room during the weekend too. So let me know on that. We got Natalie here because we just want to talk to Natalie, but also I want to make sure that we talk about and promote her new class. So we're going to do that right now. I have Natalie's website address up the top. Why am I pointing right at the screen? That was dumb. It's up there. Up there. That's Natalie's website, and that's where you can sign up for the her Be Ribboned. Whoops, and then I don't have it on here. I am so talented, it's just frightening. Where'd it go? Well, I'll have it back in a minute. I'm not going to hunt it down right now. Anyway, so Be Ribboned is Natalie's new class, and you can go to her website and sign up there. And so, Natalie, tell us a little bit about this class, because these are not really big, gigantic ribbons, are they?
No, what those are meant to represent what some people know as undress ribbons. So they're the little ribbons that you would spot on a military uniform or a police officer's uniform. And they're, I'm just looking at inches here. They're about an inch and a half across by a half an inch deep. So they're quite small, each one. And the idea with this course is to get you to think about what colors can symbolize, what colors can represent, what are their meanings. So it's different than the traditional color theory courses that I teach, which teach traditional color theory. This one is about color and emotion, color and their associations. And the idea is that you select a person that's meaningful to you, a friend, family member, a spouse, or you can select a historic figure or even a fictional character from a book. And you imagine a set of ribbons that could be made for them based on their life achievements and their interests and things that they've done that are special in their life. So it's really a creative course. You get to make your own little mini ribbon set to honor someone, and it can be in this format like you see there on the screen, or it can be another format that you think might be more interesting to you. I ran the course already with 8 test students, and some of them came up with really interesting ways to tackle this idea of presenting some sort of ribbon in some shape to a special person and what that could look like, and really exploring their color choices. So the subtitle is A Life in Color. So it's called Be Ribboned, a life in color. So you're imagining someone's life achievements and how you could assign colors to represent that, and in what proportion, and how might they behave together. So
And
this,
oh,
oh, sorry, go on, Gary.
and so this one, if you've never done couching or gold work, quite an approachable class just in terms of technique, because
Oh,
very small
absolutely.
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very small and it's only one stitch, and it doesn't need to be done in gold work. So you could do this in canvas work, or you could just do it as a general surface embroidery, the little rectangles, and it doesn't even need to be little rectangles. It can be any shape you want, any technique that you want. So I'll demonstrate it as a gold work, but the embroiderer can do whatever they want. This could be perfect as a cross stitch. And then you'd be nice and regular, right, with your size.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And I just there was a Quilting Arts had their last magazine. They had something where they had things on spools where they were doing fabric, and someone did. She said her life so far, and
Okay.
again, this would be another way to interpret that. Using someone else's life. I'm thinking of my mom,
Right.
who had a very interesting life. To interpret that in color, but to do it in a long, narrow,
Yeah.
rather than the ribbons.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's examples within the course. Once you get into week one, you'll see examples that other students did. So, one student, she decided that she was going to do a tartan and make a couched tartan of made up of colors that she thought were meaningful, that would represent her father's life.
Mm-hmm.
And another person just took little fabric squares and attached the fabric together in a way that was meaningful to them. But not everybody chose a family member. I had one of my students, she chose Florence Nightingale and really researched the life of Florence Nightingale and imagined what her ribbon set could look like if somebody had made one for her. And yet another student did historic figure William Wallace, and it was really interesting to see what color she chose and what milestones in his life did she want to represent. I mean, most of the other students did a mom or a dad or an aunt. But I also think it would be fun to do, a storybook character as well.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that going back, everybody back on screen now. So up there at the top is Natalie's website. You can sign up there, because I wanted to talk about that, because when you look at it, you initially think, well, that's gold work and couching, and someone might say, well, I'm not interested in that. But
Right.
it's deceptive, because they're not big pieces, and you can do them as you described in so many different ways with different techniques and still get the same impact out of it, still learn about color, and then just the idea of expressing someone's life in
Yeah.
colors like that is just so cool. So
Yeah, I mean, one of my test students, she did hers on Ida with very basic stitches, but the process of getting to that was the part that was really special for her, about thinking about a person and really imagining how you could kind of deconstruct their life and represent it in colors.
yeah, yeah,
So the stitching aspect of it afterwards was like a fun bonus, but the process of getting there was really special.
yeah,
And of course, I have interviews. I've interviewed, a technical authority for ribbons in the Canadian military, and two retired personnel as well, and a collector. So it's interesting to get these different angles on ribbons and what they represent.
yeah. And I guarantee you will learn a lot in Natalie's classes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Beth, you went
And
through
this
the whole Ode to
It's
Color
nice.
one,
This
right?
one's short as well. Like, some of my other courses have been quite long, and this can kind of segue into the next thing that we're going to talk about. There's so many courses out there, and sometimes people don't want to be committed for a year or 6 months or even 3 months. My longer courses are 3 months, and I thought I'm going to try a short one, just a 4-week one, and then people can get on to their next exciting course that they've signed up for.
Yeah, yeah. There's a ton of them out there, no question about that. So.
Yeah.
Yep. So Natalie's website right up there. It's right on the homepage to register for the class. When does this start?
It starts the first week of March, so in 4 weeks.
Hmm.
And there's an option for a partial kit as well. And I say partial because I mean I can't tell you which threads are going to be in your design because you have to think about the color. So the design will probably be worked with DMC threads that you have in your stash, but the rest of the materials are available in a partial kit. And
Yeah.
on, you know, if you want to see a video trailer and samples of what some of the test students did, there's a video that you can watch. Also, you can find that through the link that Gary's put up there.
Yeah. So there you have it, right up there. Check it out. It's not just for gold work. That was kind of the message I wanted to drive home is do not feel like you have to do gold work if you're not interested in that. You will get just as much impact out of the class with other techniques and have just as much fun. So I just really wanted people to understand that. And
I
the
think
fact
this would
that
be
it,
perfect
yeah,
for cross stitch and needlepoint, canvas work. That this would work brilliantly with all
yeah.
those as well.
And it's not a
And
lifelong class.
right, right. And the thing is, I think the thing is we all have like a, unless you've taken art classes, there's just a little bit of fear with color, and you make that very approachable. You show some of the reasons things work or don't work,
Right.
and explain it very well. And so this might be a nice little jump in since you're dealing with emotions too, with
Yeah,
how you
it's like
emotionally react to somebody.
a soft jump
Soft,
in because it's really
right,
subjective.
Yeah.
Some
right.
conditioning, but a lot of subjectivity as well.
So there we go. There we go. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. Sharon Bruce asked me, I got a new magnifier glass if you didn't, or magnifier lamp if you didn't listen to the podcast yet today. And if you didn't, we're highly offended, just for the record. But,
That's right.
but I did get a new one, and Sharon Bruce, who listened to it today, wrote to me and asked if I would show it. And I said, sure. So let's see, I'm going to have to aim things. I didn't set up to stitch tonight because every time I set up to stitch,
You
ouch,
don't stitch.
I never stitch, and then I have to move it all back. So this is the one that I got. I'd show you my broken one, but it's more trouble to move than it's worth. So this is the Bright Tech Light View Pro rolling base. So I won't lift it up because it's really heavy, but it's a ring at the bottom, really heavy ring. Like when I got the box off the porch, I was shocked at how heavy it was. That is wheels, has half dozen wheels on it. So it wheels around quite nicely. And then you can see that it's on this like a dentist hinge thing. So it's not the flexible spiral wound stuff. This is solid steel metal. And when you put these things where you want them, they stay there. And then the magnifier is, I got the 2.25 diopter magnifier, and it has a lid. And then, oh, it's not plugged in, you idiot.
That's always helpful when you plug them in.
Electrical devices do work better that way, don't they?
Most of the time. Most of the time.
Yeah, this is a tight show. Okay. Aren't we having fun? Oh, you got to turn the on switch on too, Beth.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
See how that works? So anyway,
Yeah.
so it has,
Amazing.
yeah, and you can dim it down and up, and then you can also change the color warmth, which is probably not going to show, but you can make it quite warm or quite cold. But very nice, very sturdy. I got it on Amazon. I think it was like $130, something like that. But it's definitely one, unlike my other, definitely one that I'll have. You know, you think, oh, $130. 10 years from now, that won't mean anything. That's, it's get what you pay for, basically. And this one will last a long time. It really is built it's very heavy duty. So so far, highly recommending it. Haven't had any trouble with it. It rotates, goes up and down.
And does it has a cover for the magnifier?
Yeah, that's this here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't have to, that cloth bag I made, I don't have to put that on anymore. You just flip it down. So, so there you go. Sharon indicated she might have to buy a new one. So she was wondering about
Oh,
that
yeah, right,
because
right.
apparently she's having trouble with her with her current magnifier light. So
Hmm.
so there you
Hmm.
go. So anyway, that happy with that so far. And then also in today's podcast, I griped and hollered about having to get creases out of silk gauze. And so wrote to Linda Stoltz at Erica Michaels, and she said, put a steam iron to it. And I did. And this is
Oh,
the
look at
one.
that.
This is the one that was sent to me in a business envelope, folded over several times and through the postal system, and was really creased up and wrinkled quite badly. And put the iron to it, threw a little best press on it, all gone, good to go. So if you have silk gauze and you're wondering how to get wrinkles out, it's and this one was really distorted when I got done, and now just laying for a day, it's relaxed quite a bit. It's squared up quite a bit. I won't have any trouble getting this. So if you have silk gauze and it's got wrinkles or creases in it and you wonder about it, put a steam iron. I used the silk setting on the steam iron, pumped the steam to it. I put it between, took a cotton towel, like a dish towel, 100% cotton, put it between those and ironed it, and it worked. And it wasn't, I wasn't there for an hour doing it either. It worked great. So,
All right. So you asked, where did you get is it off of Amazon, your lamp?
I got it from Amazon. There's a link. The link to it is in the on the podcast page for today's podcast. I put it in there so you can just go wetalkfiber.com and then the podcast today, and the link is right there, so you can go right to it on Amazon. And it's the Bright Tech Light View Pro Rolling Base Assembly, blah blah blah. But I did put a link right to the piece, so
Looks good, Gary.
you can find it. So I'm very happy with that. Because as I was talking about in the podcast, I didn't realize how bad my old one was, because I'd gotten so it just flopped into place. So I'd gotten really good at positioning it somewhat higher than it needed to be, knowing how far it would drop to be in the position I want. And then you'd make little micro adjustments. And it was the first time I used this one, it was so freaky to just, I put it there and it just stayed. It was weird.
Amazing.
So, yeah. So anyway, that's the update on that. Okay, that's all. That was the extent of my obligations. Oh, Samplers Magazine is coming together. Now that's going to be out around the 1st of April. And I have just about everything in for the first issue, and I just wanted to share with people who are interested. The main feature is going to be on Mid-Atlantic Quaker samplers, and Cindy Steinhoff is doing that. And then Amy Mitten has done a piece on work bags out of West Town School, and Amy has a project that you can buy where she recreated one of these work bags that these girls used to use, all kinds of little pockets and hidden things and places for thimbles. So she has a story about the history of those and how they work. Vicki Jennett, a piece on perforated paper, old perforated paper and how it was used and so on and so forth. And then we're going to have in each issue, we're going to have a featured sampler. And Cindy Steinhoff is going to do that, and Martha Pettit is going to be the first one. So she's going to take a picture of the sampler and then talk about the background for various motifs, the story behind the Martha Pettit, and just give you a little bit, just an exploration of the sampler. So that'll be one thing. And then in each issue, Tricia Nguyen of Thistle Threads is going to do a column on threads. So historical threads, how they were made, how they worked, how they were used, so on and so forth. And her first one is a comparison of silk, and then when cotton came into play and the efforts that they made to make the cotton shine like silk. and how
Wow.
mercerization came in and DMC and the whole thing. And so it's a fascinating piece, and she has lots of pictures and things. And all of these things in the magazine, just about everybody is already has a video or a slideshow or both to go with it. So you'll have an article, and then you'll be able to watch a video or a slideshow. Cindy Steinhoff, I think, has both. No, Amy Mitten has both. So so that's all coming together. Now actually got to build the magazine and build the website, but more about that coming up. But that's what's going to be in the first issue. So that's the kind of thing that we're putting together for this magazine. So if you
That's really exciting.
if you enjoy old stitching and reproduction samplers and what's behind them, it'll be for you.
That sounds great.
Yeah, fun. What's Jan saying? All I typed in was Amazon and the Brightech LightView 6 just popped. That's so creepy. That's just creepy.
I know.
Oh, geez. Yep.
Yeah. Sandy, you need a new one. Yeah, just get it. Be like Gary. Just you don't want to something you bump into it and you reset up again.
Go for it. Go for it. So we were talking before the show to Natalie. She's working on she's been working on her judging certification. And it's been fun to watch you because still my favorite video from the EGA seminar was when you took two of my pieces and went through and critiqued them. Still my favorite one. I learned so much from that. And so you've been working right away. Now you've been also doing some counted work, which is not your norm at all. And what you wrote to me here not too long ago, you wrote to me about how you miscount once and it throws everything off, and I got a chuckle out of that because welcome to the world of counted.
Yeah.
So are you doing? Is that also part of you just trying to be a better judge by truly experiencing these techniques?
Yeah, exactly. When you're a needlework judge, you need to be able to look at all kinds of techniques. You need to have an understanding of how all the different entries work. So I'm a surface embroiderer. I do gold work. I like Japanese embroidery, crewel work, surface stitchery. But I really need to have a better understanding about how challenging the various types of counted work are. So, of course, I have all the judges. We've got cheat sheets on, what to look for when you're presented, by technique, the top things to look for and, what might be something that's not acceptable. But you really don't have a good understanding unless you've worked it yourself.
Yeah.
So, to that end, I've taken upon me in the last couple of years to work through a variety of counted thread pieces, black work, a little bit of canvas work, some pulled thread, darning patterns that I find actually pretty easy. And then of course in my gold work, I do diaper patterns where I'm using a grid on my fabric that I've drawn on to help me know where to place the stitches. So I have an appreciation for how beautiful it looks. But as I work through
I knew there was a but. You could tell there was a but coming.
But it's a good but. But as I work through actually stitching examples to have as my reference, I develop a even greater appreciation for the complexity of the execution and being precise and correct, because I'm working on a Ukrainian white work piece at intermediate level, nothing too challenging. And if you do one stitch wrong, you have to undo everything else. And that I say to myself, this happened many times to me as I was starting off the piece. I said, why in the world would I do this knowing that there's a good chance I'm going to have to undo everything that I did before? Where, in surface embroidery, you're just like, well, I think I'll put another stitch to cover that up, or I'll place a bee here, or there's just so many ways you can easily fix surface embroidery mistakes. But with this stuff, No way. It shows. So, and working on linen that's has sometimes little teeny tiny threads
Yeah.
that are hard to see. The irregular fiber, it provides it just a whole new level of challenge. So now that I think about some of the larger tablecloths that I've seen that have corners that all meet up, I just think, oh, the stitcher must kind of panic as they get towards their last square. It's like, please,
Uh,
please meet up, right? So it's
yeah,
good
there's
for
nothing
me
like
too.
it
So I
when
go
you're
on.
doing a sampler. If you're doing a sampler and you want those your borders match, that's
Yeah.
the yay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, it's such a big deal that things meet up. I would go open a bottle of champagne if I had a big one and it met up at the end. So, all that I think there are some counted thread techniques that are a bit easier to fix, and there's some that just have no forgiveness. And I'm working through some of those with trepidation, but also pride as well when it works out.
Yeah, well, I just think it's interesting because like for me to go do embroidery, it's kind of unsettling because there's no grid to lock me in, and
Yeah.
and I can just pretty much go wherever I want. And so to hear someone come back from the other side and say, well, I have to count this exactly every time. Yeah, yeah.
And
Whose design is this?
this is by Terry Bay, and
Oh,
she has a series of, they're called the Diamond series, and she's got three: a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced. And you can kind of mix them up if you want to put them in a different order. So that's one of her designs there.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's
She has beautiful designs.
yeah, it's a nice introduction to Ukrainian white work, I think. Not too
Mhm.
hard.
And I see we have Zoriana, who is Ukrainian. All right. Zoriana, if you have a whole bunch of Ukrainian designs to show, maybe you'll do a show with us. Wink, wink.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Just a suggestion. Up to you.
There's a lady at my guild who's an expert at this, and she's been kind enough to set up a stitch along every week for anybody who wants some help working through the Terry Bay design. So it's nice to have an expert to help you as well, when you're trying out something that you haven't done before. So I've done white work, but I haven't done this style of white work.
Yeah. So you have an appreciation for it, but has it generated interest in doing more of it, or are you doing it and you learn from it and then that's good enough for you?
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'm working on them as professional development for future judging work, and just for understanding the pieces better, where they're coming from, and the amount of effort that's gone into pieces that I might be looking at in the future. So I'll always be working on techniques that are not my go-to.
Yeah.
So whether it be beading or quilting or whatnot, I think for decades I'll just keep exploring techniques to broaden my knowledge base.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great because then, as a judge, uh, if you're judging my piece, and I know you've at least tried it,
Yeah,
that gives me a level of appreciation for whatever you might offer in terms of critique. So that's good.
yeah,
The
and
other
I can
thing
give
that
you a bit more meaningful feedback as well.
other thing in your pictures is you actually have created samplers, which I think is, I don't know how many people do that anymore. Because like here, your blackwork shading sampler, and so
This is not my design though. Um, so I was attracted to this because I wanted to understand black work and shading. So this is a design from the UK. Masako Newton is her name, And in her kit, blackwork was new to me, so I really wanted to have a kit to know, what are the right threads to use. She has,
Hmm.
3 different weights of black thread, and shows you how to strip back a pattern from heavy to light. So I thought this is fantastic. And from there, you kind of understand how you can manipulate blackwork stitches. And that's the part that interests me, not necessarily just, creating pattern blocks, but how to manipulate a pattern to make it look different.
Yeah. What was the hardest part of doing this?
The basting. I hated it.
Okay.
Oh, I so agree.
I was quite stressed. I said, well, if I baste it incorrectly, then everything, again, back to this, everything's going to be thrown off. And oh my gosh. And,
That's funny.
yeah, because it wasn't regularly, the recommendation wasn't like, every 10 blocks or 10 threads. You can see when you look at that image there that you see the weighting change of the threads and the pattern change. So that's where I was putting the basting stitches, and then around each of the horizontal horizontal bands as well.
Yeah.
So that was a fun one to do. And then after that, I wanted to try one of Jen Goodwin's designs. Oh, okay, that's Elizabeth Allman there. And anybody who does black work would know her. So this isn't exactly her design. It's her design that I've modified. So I took a course, and we were all encouraged to use the colors that we would like, and choose different pulled threads and some Bargello and a little bit of everything in there, right? And some black work on the sides here. So I thought this was a fun mix of techniques, and I was very happy to be allowed to choose the thread colors that I liked.
That's
And I
beautiful
think this
design.
was worked, I want to say it was worked on Lugana, which was, it's a nice, I would call this an easy fabric to work on.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And then,
So this,
I'm gonna skip over here. Is this Jen
yeah,
Goodwin's?
yeah, exactly. So that's a Jen Goodwin design. And, I'm very interested in color. So I thought, well, I want to get better at black work. Why don't I stitch something with a lot of color, because color appeals to me. And this was a really fun one. This is there was a full kit available. And this is a fun one because there's kind of 4 main areas you can see, like here and here and here, and then something a bit darker in here. Well, it was meant to be darker, but I didn't make it darker. And just layering one color over the other and seeing how that would work. So it was a counted thread piece where you kind of got to see a bit of magic happening with the layering.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Oh,
beautiful
so it's
piece.
layering of stitches too, layering
Yeah,
of colors along with the
yeah,
stitches. Oh, very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. No,
Oh, I see it in there. Okay.
this is a very clever design.
Your gold work on the edge, or was that part of the kit?
Oh, that's part of the kit. Yeah. And she actually, in her original design, she has more gold work kind of looping through it as well. But I just decided to simplify it a bit.
Wow, when
So
you
she's
get in
got some,
close, this is much more sophisticated than it looks from a distance. Wow.
Yeah.
yeah. How fun was that to stitch? Like really, really a fun one. So, but I don't think I
So
could
was
have tackled that if I hadn't have done the other one by Masako with just, a simple band sampler first. I think I needed to start there before going to something like this.
Mm-hmm. This is
And
beautiful.
luckily, I found a group of stitchers who were working on the same design. So we set up a little support group online, which was really useful.
Support group.
it is important, yes.
Yeah, to encourage each other with beautiful pictures and steps, and redrawing some of this. So maybe other people who are really experienced in counter work don't need to redraw the patterns, but I really spent a good amount of time getting out some graph paper and drawing it by hand first, and thinking about where the stitches intersect, and then the layering, and what goes on first and then what goes on second. For my brain, I really needed to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, boy. I mean, I thought this was beautiful just looking at the picture, but I didn't look close up. Wow.
Gee, you're really looking close, zooming in on my technique that I'm not so strong in, and I hope
Oh,
it's up to snuff here.
It's
I'd be
beautiful.
proud to do that work right there. No trouble at all. I mean, there's a real element of sophistication here. Wow.
Yeah, and you can see that there are different patterns, but they actually meet up.
Yep.
And I swear to you, Gary, I did make them meet up. No fudging in there.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's
spectacular. What is this called? Do you recall?
Ooh,
That's all right.
I don't. I think maybe
That's all right.
I don't know, but I'll find out for you before the end of the show. The kit's behind me in a
Okay.
basket.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then this one here, this sampler thing, is this
So
your?
this sampler I made up based on a book of darning patterns. So Jen Goodwin has a book on darning patterns, blackwork patterns and darning patterns. So I took the patterns and the patterns that interested me the most and made a little band sampler here, showing, warm colors and cool colors and complementary colors and, a value scale and tints, tones, and shades. So I thought that could be an interesting way to show some things about color theory, because she has a darning sampler on color theory as well, different than this one. So this was inspired by that one that she has. So that's another one that you can look up by Jen. So this is one of my own, but she has a very good one as well.
okay.
And it's
So
just
two
fun. Darning
things.
patterns are fun, and they're not big, right? So if you make a little mistake, it's okay. You just need to undo a little tiny bit.
All right. So Sandy wanted to know what kind of thread is used. I think she was talking about the color wheel piece.
Yeah, I think it was DMC.
Okay, and it's called Black Work Color Wheel.
I think it's called Blackwork Color Wheel, but
Yes,
I'll just double check that.
I checked. I
Oh,
went
okay.
online and
Okay.
so that's the name of it, Black Work Color Wheel.
Oh, it's a stunner. It's a stunner.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, Natalie, take me. This was not supposed to be Interview Natalie's show, but I just got so many questions for you. Take me through what goes through your mind when you make a sampler like this. Are you experimenting with colors and going light to dark? And are you playing around, or have you played around and then you stitch this and it's a way to remember what you did? Or is it
I
just,
wanted to have a way to show color theory examples that were stitched. So I start with a painting. So I painted a bunch of rectangles, kind of roughly thought, where would I put them if I was to make a sampler showing different aspects of color theory? Because it's pretty easy to redo a painting, right?
yeah,
So I need to have a picture to work from. So my painting becomes my picture. And the diaper these darning patterns appeal to me because they recall diaper patterns as well. So there's some diaper patterns in there, which I use a lot in my gold work. So to be able to make, if I can make a diaper pattern on silk fabric with gold threads, surely I can figure it out from a darning pattern as well. So yeah, I've done my painting. I figure out my measurements. I do a little thread matching, try and find threads to match my painting, choose a darning pattern that I like, and try and have a mix. I really wanted to have a mix of darning patterns, and each color section represented by a different darning pattern.
mm-hmm.
So I had to choose all those first. And which one would be for the size that I have is quite small. If I remember correctly, each band is about an inch wide. So I needed to choose a pattern that you could appreciate in just 1 inch as well.
Yeah.
So that was just a matter of looking through Jen's book and just sitting and thinking about it. And then sometimes I redrew it as well on graph paper just to make sure I understood the flow, and then have a go with the stitching.
So those patterns in Jen's Black Work book? Is that the book
Yes.
you're referring to? Okay.
Yeah. It's a blackwork book, but she has a big section on darning patterns in there. It's a really, really nice book, a great resource
Is that
if you're
Beth? Is
interested.
that the one? Is that the one when we interviewed her?
Yes, I think so. Mine's not up here.
Got it. Got it right here. I
Ah,
am so organized. Check me out.
oh man, I am jealous.
Got it right here in my little library. It's almost like
Great.
I know what
Mm.
I'm
And
doing.
it, and he wheels over there in his office chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Jen's newest book.
Yeah, great resource. A really nice book.
So
And
so Sandy, where can one find darning patterns in that book by Jen?
Exactly. Yeah, a good section on darning patterns.
yeah.
So she's got like a zoomed in photograph, and then she's got underneath like a digital, a computerized version, a
Mhm.
chart.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest this book. Yeah, there's just pages and
Mhm.
pages and pages of these things. All these.
And
Yeah.
I do in goldwork embroidery, the couching stitch is the most common stitch, and I find it very relaxing to do. And I really felt the same working these um the darning patterns. I find this is so relaxing. I'd be happy to make a book of darning patterns as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget. It's been several months since we talked to Jen, but this book had just come out. This is a new book,
Mhm.
which I'm sure you can get where all books are sold. But yeah, she's quite a talent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it shows all. Yeah, it shows how to do it, the whole shooting match, and
Yeah, she
then
has a new
then this is Natalie will be
image.
doing this one next here.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
She's got a nice pattern of a giraffe that she showed on Instagram. Jen
Oh
Goodwin
yeah,
did.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, I've seen
beautiful.
that one. And she's used black fabric with white threads. So she's done the
Mhm.
reverse. Like
Yes,
the lion. Mm.
like the lion. Mhm.
yeah.
Gorgeous.
So there you go. There's another thing as part of our effort to enable people to spend their
That's right.
money.
Yes.
Ongoing. It's an ongoing effort. So get that book. Yep.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay.
So those have
Just
been
trying to help.
good exercises for me to understand better some of the techniques that show up in judging competitions.
Yeah. I really applaud you for taking the time and learning these things.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
a question here. What's the difference between diaper patterns and darning patterns?
Well, a darning pattern can be a diaper or not. All that you really need to think about are there crisscrossing lines. So you got a diagonal this way and a diagonal this way. So just like a basic chevron would not be a diaper. Gary, if you want to just point to a few where you can see the crisscrossing um, diagonal lines. And like the one on the farthest right, yeah, that one would not be a diaper pattern because it's just a zigzag. But the one right beside it, you can see that there are the diagonal lines that intersect over each other. So there you go. You've got a diaper pattern. And you could just start with any kind of lozenge or diamond shape and fill it in any which way that you want to. And these are all diaper patterns in its most basic format.
So this chevron thing this would be a darning pattern.
Yeah, but so would the other ones as well. It's just that you can break them down into further subcategories
This
if
becomes
you wish.
diaper because of the diagonals. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So they're all
Okay.
darning patterns, but some darning patterns have the diaper, which is this kind of diamond lozenge shape in it.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Oh, what other goodies did you send us?
Well, I sent you the two slide. There's 4 pictures from the Lady Anne's Needlework Festival, which are
Oh,
fun to
yes.
explore. So I recently taught for the Lady Anne's Needlework Festival, which is put on by the Crewel Work Company based in the UK. And this is an online festival with some of the world's best teachers and an excellent lecture series, and top-notch technology used. So I had such a great experience teaching for them, and they're putting on another festival in May. So the strawberries there are what I just taught. Um, but if you take a sneak peek at the May designs, uh, there's something pretty special about all of them.
Is
So
this them?
yeah, that's
Th-
them, and the other one that's a collage.
Okay.
So that's a festival over 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of May. A fantastic lineup of teachers and guest speakers, really a guest speaker every day. So here on this slide, you'll see one of my class is it's called the Couching and Color Theory Masterclass. So it's over 4 days, and we're really going to go for a deep dive into color theory and make yourself a little sampler about color theory, which includes a color wheel as well. And that's actually full right now, but if enough people put their name on the waiting list, they might open another session of it. But then look at those two little doggies there. I think this one is taught by Mandy Ewing. So you've got some needle lace and some fun moss happening at the bottom there. And then this one with the red was a motif taken from a coif that was so popular at this current festival in January that they're bringing it back for the May festival as well. So you're working with Piper silks and fine stitching, and I don't know, I'm going to say hundreds, 100 or 200 spangles.
Oh
So
my.
sweet little motif there. And then
Oh,
the other one, I believe it's taken a motif taken from a sweet bag, and that's full of gold work and surface stitchery as well. It looks really interesting.
hmm. So how big were those strawberries that you taught
Oh,
last
from
time?
this one, I think the whole design across was 4 inches. The whole, from one
Oh
tip of
wow.
the strawberry leaf all the way to the other strawberry leaf, like both strawberries,
Wow.
the outer edges is 4 inches. And
Wow.
then the height is about, I want to say 2.5 inches
Hmm.
from that, oval shape to the curly cues at the bottom. So it's quite small. And that was really, really fun to teach. My students had a great experience, and their classes are small. So the max is 15. And, they also set up a WhatsApp group for those who like to use that kind of thing, so that they can chat after hours, and the teachers giving feedback. And the students were sending me pictures of their progress as they were going on, and I'd comment back. And it was just so nice to see this piece come to life. My vision of a design, which this design is taken from a coif as well, held in the Smithsonian Design Museum, the Cooper Hewitt Design Museum. And it's just a little motif from a coif. And yeah, they did a fantastic job.
That I sat in on the introduction of teachers and classes
Yeah.
show for that, and I have to say I was just blown away with the caliber of teachers. It is top flight, top across the board there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you have a faculty list that you're really gonna they know how to teach well. They've got a lovely design. They've put a lot of time into their design, and they all really care about their students as well, which was a feeling I got as I got to know the other tutors.
hmm,
So
yeah,
and I knew some of the students that were in the course, not in my class, but in the other classes, and they all said that they really had a great experience. And rounded out with the lecture series is quite nice as well, and the opening drinks, and we're doing our best to make an online festival as fun as possible. And there are so many benefits to both online and in person. But if you really zero in on the benefits of what you've got, which is an online festival, you can really have a special time.
yeah. Is that
Right.
a Zoom format or some other
Yeah. So
platform?
your classes, typically the setup is you have 2 hours of live Zoom teaching, then a 2 hour break, and then 2 hours of live Zoom teaching. And some students, they didn't stitch, as they would just watch and listen, and knowing that they were going to have access to the replay. So you can access the replay for a long time afterwards. And, just paying attention during the class, and, being able to kind of feel out your materials and know where all your stuff is, and then slowly go watch the replay and hear it again. So,
That's
sometimes there would
nice,
be,
though.
oh, it was really nice for everyone. I wasn't worried that my students were not going to get something, because I knew that they could hear it again, and I didn't need to hammer something in 10 times, knowing that was the only time they were going to hear it, right?
Right, right. So what's the
And I put in a
design?
little bit of a lecture in there, and some history, and, where things come from. And you can do that, I think, really quite nicely in this format.
And such a variety of projects and techniques too. I really appreciated that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you look here, this next one, this, you just got a zoomed in of a sweet bag with the red, the gold, and the green there on the left with the spangles. So that's a recreation of a sweet bag. And then you've got crewel work at the bottom and crewel work on the top right there. And then this is a hairpin in stump work and silk shading in the middle. You can see the two little bars coming down.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I love
Holy
to wear
smokes!
that. Doesn't that look fun?
Wow.
Yeah. So you really get to perfect your silk shading there. And then up top, this is the one I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. And I believe it's sold out as well already. But again, you can ask to be put on a wait list. This is a design by Jenny Aiden Christie, and everybody loves her work. So it's
Right.
meant to be the top portion of a glove.
Uh,
So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like in the stitch version. They give us a little sneak peek, and it's quite lovely already. She always has interesting threads and ways to use them, and a lovely design sense. So again, I think it will be a really wonderful experience. And for me as a teacher, I just love teaching for them. They made their teachers feel valued, and that makes us want to go even more, that extra mile to
yeah.
deliver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If Jenny would work at it, she could get really good, I think.
I think she's at the top of her game.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Her stuff is
yes.
mind blowing every time. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked up a couple of her designs just to explore some new threads and ways of handling them, and they're just fantastic.
Yeah. And she's so just, there's no, she's just, I don't know, there's no tension in her. There's nothing. It's just, this is the way it's done. This is how it's done. And you just relax and do it and enjoy it. And then you look at her work and you go, holy smokes.
I know.
So, I mean, I really feel honored to be a part of a teaching team like this.
Yeah. Well, honored, I'm sure, but you definitely fit right in. No doubt about that.
Thanks, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
I love to teach. I love to share what I know. And oh yes, that was the initial inspiration that was kind of my test piece for the strawberries.
Oh, okay.
So I worked the cherries, and I figured out what works and what doesn't work. And then I was asked to design something based on a coif, and I saw strawberries in there. I said, I think this stitch over plate will look very nice as a strawberry. And I had been learning I had looked closely at the work of Cynthia Jackson, who you interviewed a while ago, and how she recreated the broder's crown.
Mm-hmm.
And different ways that the plate was used in that crown. So I've taken that technique and applied it to a modern design.
Yeah.
And sort of modern, because the strawberries are from quite from the 1600s. I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit, freshened it up a little bit.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I remember studying this. So the actual cherries and strawberries, that's plate.
Yeah. So there's a layer of padding underneath.
Yeah.
And so I took some burgundy felt and then I attached strips of plate that were about, I'd say 0.8 of a millimeter. So just slightly smaller than a millimeter. I attached rows and rows and rows of plate. And then I did bird and stitch over top in three shades. So you could see the red there. And then there's like a darker, a brownish burgundy, and then some white for highlights. And, it's a symmetrical design. So the highlights wouldn't actually make sense if this was a real piece and the shadows. But
Yeah.
the challenge for the students was to see if they could work symmetrically, because the cherries are an easier design, as they don't have to worry about symmetry.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so Cheryl wants to know, where are these classes?
So,
Like,
yeah, I don't know if Gary can share a link, but you need to look up the Lady Anne's Needlework Festival, and then you can find the profiles of the tutors, the lectures, and the classes. And you can just attend lectures if the classes aren't what you're looking for. It's worth spending time going through the lectures and seeing which ones would interest you. And there's one on tutor costuming. Yeah, there you go. So that's it. There you can recognize that the hairpin there.
Here, let me, here, I'll put, hang on, folks. Give me a second here.
are you going to put it in the comments?
Yeah, I'll
I was trying to find it myself. I was like, oh, where is that?
okay,
The
so
January one side of
there's how you
Oh,
get
look,
there.
there's the coif that I based the strawberries on.
Look
Look
at
for the
you.
strawberry. You see it?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
missed it.
You have to go look again.
I
There.
know.
Oh, there it
There.
is.
Whoops. Can I hold it there? I think whoops, no. There it is anyway.
Yeah, top right. Actually shows up in a few places, but yeah. So if you're really looking for a a good quality online festival to be part of, I highly recommend this one. And not just because I'm a teacher there. I'd happily be a student as well. But
Yeah.
luckily, I'm a teacher, so I get to attend the lectures.
You
Right,
win.
right.
You win. Okay, so up at the top there is the URL. Note it's ANNES for Anne's, the British spelling there. So, so there's the link, so you can go get that. Should you want to?
So how big were the cherries then? If the strawberries were 4 inches about, then how big were the cherries?
They're about the same size. Just a
Okay.
second. So during the class, I actually provided my students the template with some instruction if they want to stitch up a companion piece in the strawberries. So I don't know, Gary, if you can come back to me, and
Come
because I'm
back to
holding
you.
them up, and you can.
I can do that. Hang on just a second.
So
There you go.
they're in my hand, and got a good reflection there from. But anyway, they're about the same size. They fit into the palm of my hand here, and you can kind of see the shine.
Yeah.
So fun little companion piece. Maybe try. I guess if I was to do it backwards, the cherries would be ideal to do first because there's not the symmetry, and then the strawberries for that extra challenge. So perhaps that design will come out again. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, they're clearly good teaching tools because they're small and not particularly involved, so you can really
Yeah.
you can learn and do
Yeah,
them
exactly. You can have a go and feel like it's not overwhelming, right?
well. Right.
And
Right.
it's fun to work out the bird and stitch and how you want to play with your spacing, and how much of the gold you want to let shine through, and just thinking that, whoa, this is a technique that's from the tutor times and I'm still using it today. How fun is that?
Yeah. Oh, fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's 10 after already. Let's see,
Oh.
what else did we have? All kinds of goodies in here.
So
Oh, I wanted to know
That
about this.
master class.
Oh, go ahead.
That master class looks very interesting.
That one?
Yeah, this one here.
That
So
one.
that's the overall sampler for the couching and Goldwork Masterclass. And you might think, oh my goodness, that looks insanely difficult. And stitch wise, it's only one stitch. The whole design is done with the couching stitch, except for those purple blocks that you can see going over the red, green, yellow, blue, and green there. The whole thing's done in couching, and it's like a really nice way to solidify in your mind some theories of color theory. And we go right back to Chevreuil and how his discoveries just kind of changed how everything was perceived, and how lots of problems were solved by his color theories. And then how future designers, people think Albers and Itten, invented color theory, but it all comes back to Chevreuil. So there'll be, it's over 4 days. So I'll have a lecture each day on each element, and then get to some stitching. So that will be a fun one. And as I said, it's full, but people who are interested in learning about color theory and perfecting their couching, it's small. This is very small, this design. Then you can put your name on the wait list, and perhaps an encore will be offered.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think it's maybe six inches across, approximately.
Wow.
I don't have the piece. It's
Wow.
actually in the UK right now. So it's about 6 inches by 4 or 5 inches. So quite small.
Yeah. Very approachable. Yeah. I was curious about this bag. I thought this was so cool. I assume it's
Yeah.
no big deal, but it's pretty cool.
Well, so this design came about because I was flipping through a Japanese magazine. I have a Japanese friend, and sometimes she passes her magazines on to me. And I saw a kogin pattern on a little triangular shaped bag, just done with some rough wool. And I thought, whoa, that is a neat design. I like that pattern. And I had recently been doing a lot of diaper patterns over gold threads. And the idea just kind of came to me that, could I turn this into a gold work pattern and decorate a bag somehow? I wasn't sure how that was going to do. So the first thing I had to do was figure out how to chart the pattern. And let me tell you, I'm not a counted thread person. I'm not a chart making person. So that took me forever. Just, my pencil and paper and graph paper and making that pattern work. And I had someone test out the pattern for me. I said, okay, before I go and stitch this, can you get through one repeat based on my pattern? And she was able to, thankfully, yes. So, it's simple. I feel like it's elegant. Very nice example of a diaper. So it's Kogan embroidery turned gold work. I suppose you could think of it like that. So it's just on one side of the bag. I didn't do it on both sides of the bag. And that's a fun one if you to get around all the turns at the top and the bottom of the bag, and to line that all up nicely and make that pattern appear so bold. This one I'm actually going to be teaching. Have to remember when and where am I teaching this? I'm going to be teaching this as part of the EAC seminar in 2023. I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that, actually.
Oh.
We didn't hear you. We didn't hear you say that.
2023. So that will be a fun one. And it's right now it's in Inspirations magazine. It's in the current issue of Inspirations magazine. And they've done as always, they've done a beautiful job of photography. So my correct chart is in there, and, all the instructions and their photos, and, a nice template on the back and how to finish it as a bag with the instructions.
Yeah. Yet another reason to subscribe to Inspirations magazine. Yet another reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
There are something else.
Yep.
a question here. So are you going to the UK to teach Lady Anne's, or is that's all online, isn't it?
The whole festival is online.
Right. Okay.
I wish I was going to the UK to teach for them. Maybe next year.
Maybe sometime. Yes, maybe sometime.
Yeah. What else we got here?
Keep doing a good job.
Oh, what's this all about?
Oh, right. So that's just that one, and the next one are just here. There's one of the lectures is about Tudor costume, and how things were constructed. And just from looking at those two pictures, you say, wow, that is some amazing hand sewing. So I believe, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but this lady is lecturing on May 3rd, Tuesday, May 3rd, Nina Michaela. So you can, on the Lady Anne's Needlework Festival, you can read a description of each of the guest speakers and what they're talking about. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 specialized lectures and opening and closing ceremonies as well. So I just thought those pictures would really entice some people to learn a bit more about Tudor costuming and how much fun you could have with fabric types. That red underneath. What happens if you use another color? And what if you have more slits or less slits? And I would catch my sleeves on so much if I was wearing that, but it looks pretty amazing.
That was my first thought, is how many times do those get snagged in the course of a day? Yeah. Impressive stuff, but and then these collars just amaze me.
Yeah, and it's actually it's like a double one. You've got the stark white ruff on the top, and there's a smaller ecru one underneath.
Yeah. Incredible.
So their guest speakers are really also top of their game. They know their subject so well, and it's nice to just sit back and listen and take in the knowledge of these experts.
Yeah. All right, one more thing, then we got to go. So
okay.
Yeah, you're writing. You've written what, 3 pieces now for Piecework Magazine?
I have. So Piecework Magazine, I want to recommend as a good one, as it covers so many areas of handwork, embroidery, weaving, crochet, needle lace, you name it. They've kind of got everything. And so they invited me to write a 3-part series on goldwork couching. So the first part focuses on the couching technique of ornue. The second article focuses on Italian shading, how that's different from ornue. And then the third one is on diaper patterns. And the articles are they're an easy read. I'm not a PhD student writer, but Gary very kindly has edited and wrangled my article into shape. Thank you very much.
Glad to do it.
It's more cohesive and it has a good flow and is readable. And the articles are supported by great images from a variety of museums. And Piecework has been so wonderful to work with because, they're doing all that image sourcing and getting permissions for me. So I can just concentrate on writing something that the readers would enjoy and learn a bit from as well. So that's been quite fun to be an embroiderer with a good interest in couching and the different variations, and try to take what I know and what I've researched and put that into an article that's readable and enjoyable to the general public.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you do a nice job with them. I will say that. You do a real nice job. Yep.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Well, the one on ornue is out now. It's the spring issue. It just came out last week. So I think, you can find it on the newsstands and you can get digital copies as well. So if you want to see my work and Gary's hand in there, that's the current issue right there.
Yeah. Just focus on Natalie's work. You'll be fine. All right, back on screen. Okay,
I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop writing. It's hard work.
Yeah. It doesn't just fall out. It just doesn't fall on the page, does it?
No.
So up at the top there, Natalie's website to sign up for the Be Ribbon class, and people I see are mentioning about our Facebook group, and Lady Anne's is for that festival.
Yeah, Lady Anne's Needlework Festival.
Also another thing, where was that? Oh, I lost it again. Sorry. Anyway, it was Lady Anne's,
The Lady Anne's Needlework Festival. I can put that in the comments underneath the show as well.
Okay.
I can do that afterwards.
All right,
and then I'll put a link to the video about my Be Ribboned class as well.
Okay. All right, that'll be good. then get your emails in if you want to be in the drawing for the Avlia products, kits and chart. Going to do that drawing here in just a couple of minutes. That's it, folks. Thanks for joining us. Hope you learned some things. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Natalie.
Thanks for
We
having
appreciate
me.
it. Okay. All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. See you next week.
Bye.